Last Monday after work, I put my kayak in because I was anxious to try an experiment. I have a really good camera that works underwater. It's better than my other cameras. It can run for up to 2 hours. And so you put it in this waterproof case, and I have it on a tripod with a flashlight that's actually a scuba diving flashlight, so it can go underwater. And I picked up another scuba diving reel for like $30, which I use for my anchor line to use to drop this camera in because it's really strong. So the camera goes down, the floats are above to kind of keep the line away from the lens. And then it has a reel, and you just hold the lever and you let it out, and this is pretty deep here. Put out as much line as I need, and then release the lever, and you've got exactly the amount of line you need to the surface. Then I just put a float on the reel so I can put it in the water and just leave it there. And that way, if I want to fish, I don't have to fish near it and get my lines tangled in it. I can go a little ways away. So here's the view from the camera as I'm loading the camera in to put it in the water. So you're going to notice there's a hook on the camera. I attached a hook to put some bait on it to attract the fish, but I couldn't find my bait, and I thought I must have left it in the car. So I just dropped it in to test it anyway without the bait. So there's the empty hook. And what you're going to notice is this strong light beam right in front. And this becomes a little problematic because it's such a bright light that the fish are kind of scared to go too near it. And also it reflects back into the camera lens. So eventually I pulled it back up because I found my bait. And I went to lower it again now with some bait on it. So again, afterwards, the float with the reel goes on. And once it gets a little bit away from the kayak, then I can take my kayak and go a little ways away. And what I did was I went a little ways away to another area to fish, spun the kayak around and dropped the anchor. So now I could fish, but also keep my eye on that float, because if a fish grabs the bait and gets hooked, the float's going to start running, and I'll have to chase it down and hand pull in the fish. And I have another float that's like a bright yellow, and it's much bigger, that I'm probably going to find and use for this, especially if I use it at night so I can find it if a fish takes it and runs, and probably put some reflective tape on the float. So what did we get underwater on the first try? Well, we got a bunch of small bluegill for the most part. But as you can see, the light is a little problematic. A lot of fish come in from the side, but they don't really come across the center of the camera because they're afraid of the light, I think. So I'm thinking next time I put it in, I'm going to attach the flashlight to the line and have it pointing straight down and making a wide field of light that way. That would be more even around the camera. And I think it'll just make for overall better video, and I think it won't spook the fish as much. So you'll see what I mean coming up. A bluegill kind of comes in from the side, and I zoomed in on it, and then he stops when he gets near the light and just kind of backs off. Now, here was the only really kind of cool fish I saw, was a catfish. It's a channel catfish, which, what happened to all the big blue catfish or the flatheads? I haven't seen a really good blue cat in a long time. I haven't caught one in a long time, so I'm looking forward to getting a big blue catfish on my line again. I did not get totally skunked though when I was trying to fish. So I let the line out, and up, something was on it right away. So I was putting it down to the bottom and then just lifting it off the bottom slightly and suspending the baits. So something hooked up. I'm making sure that my cap camera is on and trying to get it reeled in here. And this might have been a pretty good fish. It's hard to tell because I never was able to actually get it to the surface. You'll see what happens. Aw, it's off. Well, it was a good bite, so my thinking went, I better get it rebaited as quickly as possible and put it right back down there because there could be schools of fish moving through. So the bait I use is a pack bait made out of panko breadcrumbs, cream corn, and strawberry Kool-Aid. And you make it like a dough, and you can just form it around the hook. And then it was time to get it out there right away. So I quickly undid the bail and let the line out quickly to drop down to the bottom so that I could position it again in the rod holder. And it did not take long for something to happen. Only about 40 seconds, but I speeded it up to about 10 seconds so you didn't have to wait. And there it goes. I see the tapping, so I just reel it in and he's on. At first I thought this was a really big fish. Look at the pole. He's pulling my pole all the way down to the water. When I got him to the surface, I could see he was just a little channel catfish, but he was just barely hooked. So I got the net and made sure I netted him right away. So here's the view of that reel in from my camera, my cap camera, which gives you kind of more of a bird's eye view of what I'm seeing. Oh, he's just barely hooked. Yeah, easy guy. Okay. A little channel. He's pooping and everything. Get out of here. At this point, it was time to move my underwater camera to make sure it was still running and see if I could reposition it since it runs for a long time. So I maneuvered my kayak over to the float and it started to drift a little away. So I used my bait container to just kind of pull the float over. And then reel it in. So you can see by all the line I'm pulling in how deep it was down there. And the light was still on, the flashlight, and the camera was still running.